Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Welcome to the latest coverage of the day. Well, Turkey's Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan raised concerns about Iran or the United States proposing any new regulations for transiting the Strait of Hormuz. And he also said that he saw difficulties around proposals to reopen the waterway with the international forces. And to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, Dr. Mohamed Ezaby, international relations expert. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, doctor.
Hello?
Hello, doctor.
Hello?
Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Doctor, how did you receive the news concerning the U.S. announcement concerning blockade of the ports of Iran and the reactions of some countries to this, like Spain, like Turkey? How did you follow this?
Well, we can talk first about the international reaction about the decision of Donald Trump to close Hormuz Strait against any travel to Iranian ports. So China opposed the move to increase naval presence and diplomatic pressure. European Union concerned about inflation and energy security, so calls for de-escalation. Russia economically benefits from rising oil prices. Many countries refuse this decision, like Britain, Australia. Many countries try to put a pressure on Donald Trump to cancel this decision. Especially Hormuz Strait is very important for the oil trading all over the world. It's a narrow maritime corridor linking Persian Gulf to a Gulf of Oman. At the narrowest point, approximately 33 kilometers wide, navigable ships land about 3 kilometers per direction, handle nearly 20% of global oil trade. Any disruption here immediately never trades across global markets. So no international water in Hormuz Straits. It's only divided between Iran North and Oman South under international law. Both countries control a territorial waters up to 12 nautical miles. The strait include international transport corridors that must remain open for global navigation. This makes any full closure legally continuous and potentially an act of war or plot.
Yes. After the U.S. announcement, Turkey, China, Spain and the EU also said that the Strait of Hormuz should remain open. So it's already closed by Iran. What are the consequences of the U.S. move on these countries?
Well, these countries will move to the International Security Council and try to take a decision to prevent the closure of Hormuz Strait. I think no countries will be involved in this action military. But Iran, I think it's ready to attack any ships will go to close Hormuz Strait. It completes his readiness for attacking the American ships in Hormuz Strait. Also, the United States is unlikely to physically seal the strait, but closure could take several forms. The first form is naval interdirection. The U.S. Navy halts or inspect inspects vessels, establishment of exclusion zones, mine warfare, deployment of fleets of naval mines, air and missile dominance, control of airspace to deter shipping, sanctions and insurance pressure, making ships commercially unviable through rising risk premiums. That's what the United States can do. But
Yes.
if United States try to close Hormuz Strait fully, it can't do this, especially that Iran have some weapons can attack the United States military ships in Hormuz Strait.
Yes, Dr. Ezaby, the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Agency said on Monday that it have been informed that effective, they're starting from the 4 p.m. Cairo local time on Monday, maritime access restrictions are being enforced affecting the Iranian ports and the coastal areas, including the locations along the Gulf and the Gulf of Oman and the Strait of Hormuz. So now we have, of course, 2 points here. The informing of the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Agency, and the second thing is that the number of ports, Iranian ports, that are going to be in blockade.
Well, always the United States tell the United Kingdom about any decision that they take. We know that cooperation always between United Kingdom and the United States of America, but now United Kingdom refused this decision, although United States told them that the Iranian port is closed. Britain refused this decision or this action that did by the United States, especially that the United Kingdom export oil export dependency, and they need to export about 20% of their needs from Iran and other Gulf countries. So they try to talk with Donald Trump to let the oil truck to move and carry oil from the Gulf ports. Also, the other question is about what?
Yes, the other question is about the ports that have been blocked by, is going to be blocked by the Central Command, U.S. Central Command, including the Gulf of Oman, the Strait of Hormuz, that is going to put restrictions on the Iranian ships, actually, in order not to be able to go out or go inside Iran?
Well, the main port is Bandar Abbas, one of the main ports in Iran, and Iran depends on Bandar Abbas to export oil to outside Iran. Also, Kharg Island have a port on this island, and they export oil from it. Also, two other islands like Abu Musa, they try always closed from United States too. So that the main three ports that the United States closed in front of any ships try to go to it, and United States try to make facilities for the Gulf ports to export oil from it after closing Iranian ports. But I think that Iran, as Ibrahim Zulfiqari announced today in the morning, that if the Iranian ports closed, we will attack any Gulf ports also. No Iranian port, no Gulf port. It's clear from Iran Revolutionary Guards, Ibrahim Zulfiqari, and we will see what happened after 2 days to 3 days.
Yes,
I think the war will begin again.
Yes, Dr. Ezaby, now this means that the U.S. is trying to put restrictions on the oil exports of Iran.
Yes.
Yes. So, what is the impact of this on not only Iranian economy, but the impact of the global trade in general and the economy of the international economy?
Well, it affected China and India. They export needs from Iran. They export about 30% of their needs from Iran. So it will affect especially China and India.
What is the what
Iran,
is the impact of this and the reaction of these countries who are depending 30% or more of their importing from oil from Iran?
we saw what China announced, that they refuse any kind of blocking the Hormuz Strait, and they called for open it immediately in front of Chinese ships. Also, India tried to make some calls for Donald Trump to open Hormuz Strait in front of Indian ships. But on the other hand, Iran will not be affected from this. It have borders, land borders with 7 countries. They can export their oil from land borders, and it will have win from the rising of oil prices, especially. Before the war, the oil barrel is $65, and now it's about to reach $150. So it will not affect Iran. Donald Trump thinks by closing Hormuz in front of the ports of Iran, he will prevent Iran to export their oil. But in fact, Iran, as I said, have borders with 7 countries, like Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Azerbaijan. They can export through any border.
Dr. Ezaby, as an international relations expert, what is the danger of this step by the United States to make a blockade to more than 12 or 13 ports in Iran? What is the... Of course, there would be a retaliation from the Iranian side and from other countries who are going to be affected by, you've just mentioned China, who is exporting oil from Iran.
Well, we know that in not political war between Iran, between the United States and China, but it's an economic war between both. So I think that war is about to raise
But the main target is, of course, or the main aim is Iran.
No, the main aim is China. The main aim is China. What Donald Trump did to Venezuela, and after that, what is done in Iran, that biggest 2 countries export oil to China.
Yes.
So China needs every day 11 billion to 1,000 barrels every day. So they export about 40% from Venezuela and Iran. Donald Trump now prevent 40% parallel of oils from reaching to China.
Yes. Despite all this, U.S. President Donald Trump said in several statements that he doesn't care whether there is an agreement or a deal or not with the Iranians, and he doesn't care for this, saying that the United States have already won the war. How did you receive, or how did you see his statements?
Statement of who?
Of U.S. President Donald Trump.
Yes, Donald Trump always say something and in the same speech say the opposite. So we didn't now put an importance for his speech, especially every day he says something and the next day he does something. The main things in the speech of Donald Trump that he will back to war against Iran. He just want sometimes to be ready to attack again. He moved some missiles through an air bridge to the Middle East area, containing the cruise rockets, containing the GPU bomb, containing air defense systems. He just wait the plans carrier to reach to the area, and he will start the war again. He will not wait.
Yes, Tehran have pointed out that the administration of the Strait of Hormuz after the war will differ from before the war. How do you read the Iranian statements?
Iran, now what have been said by Ibrahim Zulfikari, that Iran is ready to any action from the United States. He is preparing himself to attack the military ships from for United States. He will attack Tel Aviv again. When he said no Iranian ports, so no Gulf ports, I think that he will attack the ports of Gulf countries. That is Iran. What will we do after the back of the war?
Yes, Iran also have asserted its right to enrich uranium and that it's not negotiable. What is your intake on this?
Well, to be frankly, that the nuclear project is the main project for the leadership, the government system in Iran. So he convinced his people that he suffers from his project. And the Iranian people support the Iranian system for this dream. So if Iranian leaders now announce that they will leave the nuclear project, so it will make a revolution in Iran. So it is very important for them to insist to take nuclear project, even they move it from military usage to power usage. But
yes,
it must be existed. They need it for the internal people, for the internal, not the outside. Iran didn't want to own nuclear missile, but they need it for the people in Iran.
yes. Dr. Ezaby, 21 hours of negotiations in Pakistan between the U.S. officials and Iranian officials, and it was not enough to come out with a deal. And for its part, the U.S. side, the U.S. Vice President Vance said that the negotiations failed. He described it with this word, it failed. How did you see his explaining or description of the negotiations, that it failed?
During this negotiations was held, I was on air with your colleague, Mr. Mohamed Abdurrahim, and I told him that the negotiation will fail before they announce. From before the negotiation starts, I know that and said it in Nile TV many times.
But Dr. Ezaby, don't you see it's a positive step that at least the two sides agreed to meet? Maybe they could refrain from meeting, but they tried to meet and tried to come out with a deal or an agreement.
Well, as I said, that only both parties sometimes need to take breath again after 40 days of war.
Yes.
So they accept this negotiations just to take breath not only. So Donald Trump have many things, many wrong things in his air defense system in the Gulf area and Israel. So
Yes.
he needs to repair it, rebuild it. He needs to complete some missiles to be sent to the area. Iran needs to take the rockets from under the ground and to make it ready to attack again. So both parties accept this meeting just to take place. And I said that many times after they announced the ceasefire, same day, I said that in Nile TV that this ceasefire will not be continued, and just they need some time, Iran and the United States, and the war will be back again.
Yes.
If you read the movement of American army, you know that this meeting is just for meeting, not for achieving anything.
Yes. Well, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Dr. Mohamed Ezaby, expert of international relations. We really had the pleasure to have this phone with you. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we come to the end of the coverage of the day. Please stay tuned for more updates on Nile TV International. My name is Ezaby. Thank you for watching.